Hi, everybody. So, Kelly and I are here. We're going to talk about the full moon. October seems to be quite the red October right now. So, this will probably be a very intense, show. And I'll try and define some of the things that come up for me when Kelly's talking because there's a lot that's happening right now. So, I'm really excited. It is tough, not just for what we're going through energetically, but also a lot of family and friends seem to be going through extra issues right now. And, just send love to all of them right now. So, yeah.
Yeah.
How you doing, Kelly?
I'm going through stuff with family
Mm. Yeah.
and other things, So, but it's so important to take care of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm doing that. I'm finding my own pace. I'm not at home, which you see my new background. And so, just trying to settle in and take care of myself and get what I need and eat well and then just
Hmm.
support family as it goes here. Yeah.
Yeah. We just have to do our best. And honestly, sometimes you're not going to get all the things done. Just do what you can. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I find, doing this with you, honey, it helps me refocus on my work, on what I give, and I'm
Mhm.
doing a couple of other things along that line that kind of help me focus on my my basic path. So I can't do everything for everybody all the time, right? So,
Mm-mm. No, it's too hard. Yeah.
yeah.
And we're
And
not supposed to.
welcoming the support that's coming one's way, that's so
Mhm.
important too. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, what's going to happen with the full moon?
What's going to happen is up to you to some
Yes.
extent. But let's take a look at some of the charts here. So here is the full moon chart. So the sun is in Libra and it's halfway through Libra, which is always an interesting point when it's halfway through a sign. And the full moon is in Aries. So we're back to a basic um, polarization of energy that can either pull apart or complement each other. And the full moon is here to help us realize how to bring both of these signs to complement each other. And Libra is so much about balance. And so, in order to be balanced, and this is a lesson we've been learning for the last couple of years, and this is focusing on it yet again, is to be really centered in oneself. That's the Aries. It's being clear, it's standing your ground, is not getting off balance by leaning into or accommodating other people beyond a certain point. And the clearer you are with yourself, the clearer you can be with other people. So that is a basic, Libra Aries dynamic. And I added in the Sapien symbols. Each degree of the 360 degrees of the zodiac has an image that amplifies something about that specific place. And here's the one for the full moon, an Indian weaving a blanket in the light of the setting sun.
Hmm.
So that brings back something about tradition, something about doing, what is your thing to do without comparing yourself to other people. And also, what can we say about that blanket? It's as if we're weaving the fabric of our own being more beautifully and in the light of the sun. So, and that's exactly what the full moon is, it's reflecting the light of the sun. So, there's something about appreciating what is our thing to do and doing it to our best, making that blanket really beautiful, weaving the threads of our lives and our being as beautifully as we can.
Hmm.
And then the sun, we always round up. We see 14 here, but we round up for that whole degree. And the this image for the sun is circular paths, which, can sound like looping because we can certainly do that. If we're not making forward moving choices, we are probably going to be looping and finding ourselves back where we started in some way. But it's
Hmm.
also, you often talk about the spiraling. We're not going back to where we were. We're going on another, kind of octave of it. And so that's another thing to be thinking about, that it's not that we're growing. When we come back to review something, we've grown since we last were in that place or experienced that. And sometimes this is things coming back and people coming back around in our lives to kind of remind us of those are particular threads that we need to weave in to this tapestry of our lives. So I think that's something to do with the meaning of this moon. And it goes along somewhat with this. This is Chiron. That's that. So the moon moves pretty quickly. And so the full moon is on October 6th, but the next day, the moon is going to be right on Chiron, which is focusing on or bringing up like healing, bringing up like, you know, when we're weaving the fabric of ourselves, we need to include the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and physical. And whenever something is static in that, we need to realign. So there's the suggestion here of realigning,
Hmm.
and not just the next day, but also of bringing back the memories, bringing back. Um, I walked into a cafe the other day that I really like around here where I am, and I couldn't believe it. The guy was singing, "There are places in my life," that John Lennon song.
Uh-huh.
And I love that song, and it's just been coming around. I couldn't believe I walked into the cafe and he was right in the middle of that song. But that is it. There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed. And what is that change about? And we want change that's growth oriented. Here's Jupiter in Cancer, growth and
Hmm.
expansion and opportunity. We can't stay in our little pots. We need to be expanding, and this is a consciousness raising aspect as well. So so here's part of the full moon, and we're going to look next at this and see that there's quite a lot more going around with this full moon. And so this is the full moon is at 14 Aries. And right next to it, we have one of these Kuiper Belt objects. This is Salacia. This
Hmm.
is the mermaid who makes the sunlight sparkle on the sea. And I consider that Salacia is this plasma light coming into our system. And right here, here's Ceres. She's Earth Mother. So there's something in this full moon that is lighting up the plasma waves coming in and affecting Earth. And it's like, this is Aries. This is the newness. There's a brightness. There's a shining here on this full moon that is really special. And here's a graphic to help you uh, stimulate your imagination, which is exactly what's happening here. This light is stimulating our imagination and our intuition. So here's the graphic I use in the center of the circle this time, a beautiful depiction, or I think it's an acrylic painting by Kathy Harmon Luber, who's one of my readers. And this is Salacia, who's weaving the sunlight, into the sea. It's coming, it's all around us. It's like plasma light. And I recently listened to Keone Hanale, who just wrote a book about he has a Mu heritage.
Hmm.
He's Hawaiian. And he's talking about their teachings and their creation story. And he said the creation was originally plasma. This was the light beings coming in, and they became the water. So
Yeah.
these light beings are still with us and they are in the waters. So Salacia is very connected to that story, and I just love her. She lightens things up, you
Mm,
know. She brings that plasma energy in, which is the original creative energy. It's the inspiration, it's the spark of life. So this is like what really stimulates us and what excites us when that light comes in. So this is also let it come, let it come.
mhm,
And Ceres is Earth Mother. And she uses the sun also to grow things. And this is the earth receiving that light. So Selassie is in the water, but Ceres is, bringing it into the earth as well. So this is a pair right now. They're working together on this full moon to bring us something very, very special, to help us weave that tapestry, that rug, that storyline of our lives. And this refreshes that. It's newness. It's an
mhm,
Aries. So do something new and different. It's time to really let the sun shine in. What was that song? So anyway, just wanted to, these are primary energies connected to this full moon.
mhm.
So let
Yeah,
us receive them.
that's beautiful. So I just want to say one thing about the plasma. And there was one thing about the last slide too that you were looking at. So if you guys can think back to last October, and everybody was kind of frantic, and then we had, someone became president again, right? And then
Oh,
we've had this extremely wild year,
yeah.
right? So we've spiraled up and around again to another October. And if you think about the plasma, when I first asked my higher self, what is space? I got that it's all plasma. So, what is plasma really? It's God consciousness,
Mm.
it's source. It is the true spark of all life. And the ocean represents that here on
Wow.
Earth. So, really fun stuff. Love it.
And of course, we need to remember that the water is in our bodies quite a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
that I equate plasma with uh, in relation to ether. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure it's the same thing, but they're very close.
It's not the same thing, but if you think about, so you know how we've seen movies where they like somebody's stuck in the water. And I think what the main movie that I'm thinking of, oh, I can't remember. It was I'll try and put it underneath the video if I can remember what it is.
Was
But
it the abyss?
yes, the abyss. So they open those beautiful beings basically open the water and they create this little space for him with air. So what are they doing? They're transmuting the air out of the water. Where do we live? We live in a terrarium. It's the same thing.
Mm.
So the ether is the spark of life that's created in that pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And
Mm.
it's, yeah, beautiful, really.
Yes, yes. And I do think, Salacia is one of the Kuiper Belt objects in this new realm that to me is more of the etheric or the plasma. I'm going to have to think a little bit more about the distinctions there. I also had to think very many years about the difference between the astral and the etheric too.
Mhm.
Um, do you have something to say about that?
Well, to me, the astral is space. It is basically being within source. So the astral is the vast ocean of the source of everything. And
Hmm.
so it's the same as the universe, the multiverse, all of it is the same thing, really. And
Yeah.
those are the waters above.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
yeah, like the
Yep.
Akashic records.
Yeah. So they are in them. So they're up in, the vastness of the plasma of the source of everything. But also they live within us. So the astral actually, I mean, the Akash, the records also live within us. And we have links to that. And now that we're crystalline and we seem to be getting very activated, more and more so every day, we have more and more access to our own records and then
Mm,
to the public records, I'm just going to call them, which are the true history.
mm. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
the plasma is the I don't even want to call it texture exactly, but where it moves through everything.
Yeah.
It's the fractalizing or the matrix in a positive way of
Hmm.
source. So yeah, we're all in that field and we want to clarify and bring in more of the light that's there to uplift our denseness. And that's
Hmm.
part of our big job right now. And this full moon is definitely go for it, people, kind of time.
Yeah. And Salacia is that energy. Like
Yeah.
she's not just bringing it into the ocean, she's bringing it into the body, which is also its own kind of ocean.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's partnered with Neptune, who has to do with the subtle fields and the vibrational frequencies. So
Yeah.
they're
It's
like a
been very
cosmic
busy.
couple. So
Neptune is very busy, very happy. And I talked to him when I was in Hawaii. I talked to
oh,
Neptune, and he was really intense about he wanted to be acknowledged, and he is separate, he's a separate being. He gets lumped in with Poseidon quite often from certain people, and he has his own job, and he's really a very beautiful being, and he's tried to be more light, like he hasn't had as many shadows, I think, as some of the beings.
hmm.
And he's really been working on himself like consistently, it feels like.
Mm. Mm. Well, looking back just briefly at the slide I was sharing with the Salacia series, Neptune is right here at zero Aries. It's going backwards now because it went into Aries at the end of March and it's going back into Pisces for a while just to kind of take a dip in its ocean, and
Yeah.
then will come back into Aries. So it's one of the larger slow-moving planets that has to do with themes that are shifting in the collective consciousness. So in some ways, we're going out of the water into the fire, into the light in certain ways. And that's why Selassie is a really good, translator of that. She really kind of
Hmm.
brings brings that together. So here's another uh, uh, focus thing for this full moon, which is conjunct the sun. And this is Makemake, that is the Birdman god of Rapa Nui, or what most people know as Easter Island. And
Hmm.
here's a graphic for Makemake. Um, Now, look at these themes based on the mythology, based on some of the teachings of the people, renewal, rebirth, regeneration, revisioning in face of disaster. The people in Rapa Nui faced absolute disaster with, they had, I think, a tsunami. There is in their geological, kind of history, there was a
Hmm.
tsunami. Um, People say they cut all their trees down to move their statues. No, they wouldn't do
No.
that. So, and then they were discovered by ships, and
Yeah.
their whole culture was devastated. So they had this revisioning in the face of disaster and the hope and fertility, and they found their own way of coming back out of this ecological and social trauma, and they're still there. Um, and it's a very small island and remote, so they don't have as many visitors allowed in. So they are
Mhm.
very much honoring their history, their ancestors, and just this past month, the astronomers found evidence of gas around this very remote object that takes over 300 years, I think it is, to go around the sun. So the Institute in Boulder, Colorado discovered that Makemake shows evidence of gas, and this is a big surprise. So that's part of the reason I wanted to mention Makemake this time, and it also is a center point to our experience right now in this full moon, because this energy is also coming forward. And with the Salacia and Ceres, the light coming into the earth, here is a kind of level of redemption or regeneration that is also coming forward. And it has to do also with our relationships, like the Sabian symbol for the full moon, an Indian weaving a blanket. This is appreciating the traditional peoples who know how to live with the earth. So that we are making new discoveries about what we think has gone on. And certainly the whole revisioning of history is important here. And
Mhm.
just, in case you are interested, you can find out where your Makemake is. And, if say, like, well, most of us have it in Libra. Well, I shouldn't say that. So, so if you're a Virgo born in these years, you might have Makemake conjunct your sun, and that might be interesting to you. So, yeah, I'm really wanting people to get interested in these things because they are keys to higher consciousness. These creator gods are are bringing in a new capability, a new quantum consciousness that helps us engage more fully in that creative energy, and the rebirth and regeneration not only of ourselves, but of what's going on in the earth and in our solar system right now.
Yeah.
So. Now here's a really important dynamic of this full moon. And this is when you were saying intense, this is the intensity. So Pluto, yeah, that's one of my keywords for Pluto is intense. And
Mhm.
Pluto has been going in, it translated into Aquarius after 2.5 years of going back and forth a bit, two more than, yeah, 2.5 years. And it's now in Aquarius until for 20 years. And Pluto has it's at 1 degree right now. It's been going retrograde. So the
Mhm.
planets, they'll go forward into some new territory. We're moving forward. And then it's like, okay, let's consolidate where we're at right now. Like, how far have you gotten? Because we're in Aquarius. We're in the question of AI. We're in the questions that are coming up in this new era. And Pluto is about to turn forward. It's very focused right now. It said, okay, are you ready to move forward again? This happens in a week. It happens on the 13th of October that Pluto starts moving forward again. And as it's doing that, it's in an activation, 90-degree angles
Mhm.
with this wonderful activation in Scorpio. So Mercury on this full moon basically has just moved into Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign, by the way, which is one reason it's challenging to Aquarius, because Aquarius is, from a distance, it's in the air, it's the has to do with the higher mental field. And there's Scorpio, the deepest diver sign in the zodiac. It's whoa, it's diving deep. So here's that energy, and every once in a while, says Pluto, you need to surface like a dolphin, like a sea turtle, and get some perspective. But we are heading into these deep waters. And so there's Mercury. So this is how we're thinking, our perceptions. This is laser sharp. This is like a scalpel, like
Hmm.
a real clean edge, kind of discerning and just going in really deep to do some major surgery kind of thing. And then we have Haumea, who is another one of these new Kuiper Belt objects. And she is the Hawaiian goddess of childbirth. And there she was when you were in Hawaii. Um,
Yeah.
so Haumea and Pluto have been in this very interesting mutual activation as they both have been changing sign over the last several years, Pluto into Aquarius and Haumea into Scorpio. So this dynamic is still happening. So even as Pluto is, still like clearing the field of old debris, Haumea is sprouting. She's gestating the newness. So they're working together on this. And isn't that a lovely juxtaposition? Because even as the old world is dying, we are gestating the new. And we're getting more and more through this full moon, more and more ideas about that, more and more, not just ideas, but passionate, like inspirations about it.
Hmm.
Scorpio is intensely passionate. It's an all or nothing sign. So it's also really important to know that the possibility is we're going to be really triggered and activated with this dynamic going on this full moon, which, they're famous for being very highly emotional. And then we have the black moon here. The black moon is a deep soul evocation. It's like, don't come from any place superficial. It's come from deep inside your soul self and feel it from there because we cannot remain on the superficial ego level and create and gestate our new earth.
Mm-mm.
And then we have Mars. Mars is, the warrior energy. But, if our Department of War has been renamed in order to keep the peace, Mars is evolving. So it's the heroic, courageous energy that is going to alchemize what has been, the old ways. Scorpio is very able to change the lead into gold, which was the goal of the alchemists of old, and they could do it in some kind of a chemical way, but it's also like emotionally. And
Hmm.
that's where the Scorpio energy is. It's the emotional energy. If you don't like how you're feeling, if you're getting triggered and you're not happy and you're getting angry, which is a Mars thing, it's like how can we channel that anger or that triggering into something other kind of energy that is more positive? So even, going out and exercising, being in nature, any way to dispel, because we can really work our bodies to help us express in some way the energy that gets bottled up. This is a very volcanic activation, this whole thing we're looking at here. And that's not only volcanoes of Earth, but it's also the deep-seated stuff inside ourselves that's bubbling to the surface and getting ready to erupt. And how can we handle those eruptions? How can we handle that energy? We need to be willing to look at it and say, okay, how can I change this around? How can I find a better way to relieve myself of this energy that is very uncomfortable? So this is part of what's going on here, and we see a mirror of that in what's going on in the world. We see a mirror of our own collective consciousness. So, there's a lot of military activation, and that is so Pluto Mars. So,
Hmm.
what is the military actually doing? Some people think military, I used to be this way. I used to think military is terrible. Military is awful, you
No.
know,
Yeah,
but there are heroes there
they
as well.
are. They
Yeah.
really are heroes. They're doing really well and they're doing exactly what we've been asking them to do for a long time. So the culmination of the last 5 years seems to be occurring right now.
Wow.
And it's beautiful. And a lot of us aren't really paying that much attention to it anymore because we've already moved forward into our attention is on creating the new.
Haumea. Yeah.
Yeah. But the old has to still fall away. So I talked about it today. A lot of us have a lot of 3D memories that we carry around, and we're still reliving those. And that's part of the spiral and falling, letting things fall off and stop carrying them around. And if you
Yeah.
can't do that, then you kind of get stuck there for a while until something big
Yes.
happens.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the circular paths. You're back there again, unless
Hmm.
you can change it up, unless you can alchemize it, unless you can bring it to the next level.
Yeah.
And that's partly by, really going down into your soul energy. That's your truest, self.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're afraid of that. We're afraid to see what's in there, see what's down there. And,
Yeah.
probably. I came across something I was looking at today. I gave a quote from somebody famous that said, "When you get old, you're just living in the habits that you learned when you were young." So,
Yeah.
and we've all got some of those habits, partly for security, partly for finding, some kind of familiarity in these wildly chaotic times. But when you plunge into the heart of the chaos. And that would be part of what certainly the black moon is inviting you to do. You find the seed, and there's
Hmm.
where Haumea will gestate that seed. And that's the the beginning of the new, the thing that will is percolating and arising now in this full moon. And this combination here in Scorpio continues and gets even more focused within itself in the next new moon, which is on October 21st.
Yeah,
So
that
it,
makes sense.
this combination is still really intensified. Um, yeah. So and the Mercury part is about the news coming out. This is about all the things that are being uncovered. Pluto's like opening, like
Yeah.
stripping it down so we can see, and the news is, and that's where people are going to get triggered and have a hard time handling things. And the emotional intensity of Scorpio. So we just need to take that into account and come back to our bodies. And this is one last thing to mention. So this is our foundation of where we're coming from now, the south node of the moon. I'm going to be talking about this more next time. So Venus is on the south node right now in Virgo. Venus is the only Earth planet in this whole chart in terms of like enjoying nature, the appreciating the beauty of nature and being easy on yourself. Kind of sometimes what undermines us is our own feelings of like, of what do I want to say? Of
Inadequacy.
pardon?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
inadequate, not being strong enough or well enough, or not being able to handle this, or I'm not good at this, or it's like self-criticism. Virgo could be very critical because
Yeah.
it's discerning. It's so specifically, exquisitely discerning, but it can also be very self-critical. And don't edit yourself too harshly.
Mm-mm. It's definitely time to let go of that. It's People are saying nothing has changed for them. I've heard that from a few people, and I'm like, well, things are changing constantly. So we
Mhm.
have to choose what we're going to change. And I would definitely be changing things in your own life, habits, things that you're hanging on to, healing, yourself, going through those processes because we're in a very intense time right now. And it's kind of another big point
Yes.
of choice, you know?
Exactly. We're in
Yeah,
Libra. Libra is about weighing and balancing and comparing and contrasting, but you can't sit in the middle, you know?
no.
Because it's like, where are you going with this? What's right for you? What
Hmm.
is your integrity calling you to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, part of what we're breaking is this is Orcus old agreements. I'm going to talk more about this on my newsletter. There is so much in this full moon that we don't really have time to go through it all. But Orcus is about breaking agreements. And this is a lot of those agreements that we're not enough, we're not good enough, we're not whatever enough, that inadequacy, we need to break those agreements that somehow we made and really let go of that because that is holding us back from our own joy and happiness.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it really is.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So let's see. I think that's about it. Oh, I wanted to show you Haumea. And
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is a good one to know where your Haumea is because it just has changed sign. And Haumea, is coming into Scorpio now. So people born from 1983 to 1994 have Pluto in Scorpio, and they are being called up. This is one of the most powerful, intense times of their lives to claim their power. They have immense power of redemption and regeneration and that alchemy. And so this is a very special generation that is getting called up right now. So listen in, folks. Do your thing, bring it forward. Yeah,
Yeah. I've been talking about it a lot to stepping into your own power. That's why we
absolutely.
have a website called Step Into Your
Love
Power.
that.
Stepping into your own power. It's
Yes.
time to shine right now. It
Yeah.
really is. It's time to be yourself and to shine.
Well, there's that Salacia,
Hmm.
where is she in your chart? This is part of your shining. Uh,
Yeah.
so, um, oh yes. Well, here's also that call to healing that you were just mentioning, that Chiron, that shift of consciousness, that working out any static we have in our wholeness
Hmm.
and welcoming in a lot of support and gifts and these memories of who we have been that is coming through us now, and to say, oh wow, you know. And some of these are positive, and some of the things are what our subconscious influences that can be undermining us. So we're just clearing the decks here.
Yeah,
And
we
this
are.
we're getting so much grace and light and love and support from the universe. So that's what we need to be focusing on in this beautiful, beautiful full moon.
Hmm.
Um, and um, and for this next 2 weeks of the waning moon, we get time to integrate all that has been brought for us. And now you started, honey, reminding us of what was going on last October. I can
Hmm.
hardly believe that that's what was going on just a year ago. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yep, we're in it. And this is the spiral up. I mean, we wanted all this stuff to explode at that point, and now it's exploding, but we also have the support
Yes.
because you know who was elected. So it's much easier now to go through this process, and it put us on a higher timeline.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
know a lot of people don't understand that,
Mm-mm.
but look at the evidence.
Yeah, it's
You know,
everywhere.
look at the evidence and how much support there is, and there's increasing support.
Yeah.
You know, we're not done yet. So there's
Oh
increased
no.
support and clarity, and um, so let us welcome that. Yeah, let us welcome all of the best, and we participate in this. You
Yes.
know, it's like, what is your vision? Keep your vision as high vibe as you can because we can make it, we can create that.
Hmm.
Do you believe that? You know?
Yeah, we are the creators here on this planet. We are the players creating this new game, and we have a new vibration now. We have a new energy to play with. So we have to let go of the old stuff. And that's what's happening, whether people like it or not, it's happening.
Yeah, the
And
Aries is an
it's
unprecedented
wonderful.
energy. It's like brand new.
Yeah.
It's like that three-eye atlas. Like, what is it? We've never seen a thing like this before. What is it? And we're communicating with it, you
Yeah.
know? Wow. You
Fun.
know?
It's
Yeah, it's sort
exciting. Yeah.
of mind-blowing, but in a beautiful way.
Hmm. Oh, thank you, Kelley. This was beautiful. I love this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
everyone has just
Yeah.
it's amazing what's going on these days. I love
It
looking at
is.
the relations too. Yeah, thank you.
Hmm. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and thank you, Kelley, so much. I'm going to put your links below. I know that you're kind of not in your normal space right now,
Bye.
so give Kelley a chance to catch up if she doesn't contact you right away if you're trying to contact her. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm very glad. This is really good time and space for me to be,
Oh,
doing personal
okay.
readings for people actually. And
Yeah.
also, I don't know if anybody noticed it on the Haumea slide, which I didn't keep up very long, but I'm doing a presentation that's partly in person and partly, online about Haumea and these new Kuiper Belt archetypes on November 1st. So I'm going to be announcing that on my newsletter. And also, I'm going to be amplifying what we talked about because, there's just so much time on my newsletter. So I encourage people to look at my Substack and really go there and even look at some old stuff that might be meaningful to you.
I
It's all
love
there.
that.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And if you are hanging on to the old 3D, Richard and I are doing an inner child class this month.
Oh,
So in the next few weeks, we're going to get that started, and I'll put the link below so you can check it out because it's time to let go of all the old stuff, all the old programming. Yep.
yes, yes. And hug your inner child,
Yes.
even as, hey, be yourself. You can play now. You're not,
Mhm.
it's not a fearsome thing, the world
Mhm.
as it was. It is changing and it's hard to believe we're here for it, but here we are.
Yeah, it's finally happening. So rejoice in it, really enjoy it as it shifts and changes. And you can see all the changes happening all the time. I talk about
Uh,
them on Telegram all the time. So,
yeah, appreciate the chaos and how it
mhm,
is, there's a new seed arising coming out of all of that. And let's be part of that arising.
yes, we are the Phoenix, you guys. All right. Thank you, Kelley. Love you
Yeah.
guys. Bye.